Heavenly Father, we thank you for the city in which we live. Guide us this afternoon as we make our decisions. In Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, this is a special call meeting of the Newnan City Council, August the 20th, 2020. There's a bunch of 20s there. This is unfinished business, 2 items. The second and final reading of the ordinance to adopt the 2020 millage rate for property tax billing. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. We adopt the ordinance as presented on second and final reading. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda today is the second and final reading to adopt the ordinance to reestablish the Farmer Street Cemetery Commission. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. We pass on the final reading or adopt on the final reading or second reading ordinance to reestablish the Farmer Street Cemetery Commission. Any discussion or questions on this?
I have a quick question. Since I wasn't here for the first discussion, just kind of food for thought, maybe kind of mull over is, and I know we have a kind of reconstituting this commission, and we have several other historic cemeteries. Does it make sense to have the city cemetery commission for all the cemeteries and to encourage, the preservation and the enjoyment of all the cemeteries?
That's throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
worthy of a conversation, I guess. I
it
mean,
is.
Well, yeah.
I think this one is unique among all of our cemeteries, though. And I think that this one has had less attention in a lot of ways than the other cemeteries that we have had. This is the only one that's within the city purview that has gone for a number of years without having any kind of attention, without even recognition for, decades. It had been lost in the sauce. Part of this is about making sure that we properly reclaim it, properly set it up in ways that we haven't had to deal with other cemeteries. Oak Hill has never gone without some sort of recognition and some sort of maintenance and markers and all of those different things, whereas this has. So I think that having all of the cemeteries involved in a commission may be great as a separate issue in and of itself, but not to the detriment of not having singular attention on this cemetery.
Well, I think we can give Farmer Street Cemetery this attention, but if the other cemeteries need some other attention,
Do they?
if they do, then we at least have this commission available to do that. Instead of having to come back after they finish with the Farmer Street, let's let them look at the other cemeteries if they need something. Because we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including Farmer Street. I'm thinking 6 cemeteries.
And I was just thinking, we've done some upgrades to the Oak Hill, and that's our big, kind of, I don't know if that everybody sees because it was right there because of its location. But as we upgrade all of them, we give them all the just, the justice that they all deserve. And, that they should all be highlighted by their city because these are historic cemeteries.
How many of those cemeteries are actually owned by the city?
2.
2.
Oak Hill and Eastview.
Right. And so I think in order to.
And Farmer Street.
And Farmer Street, sure. So you're right, we've got other cemeteries located, I mean, Sunset and others, but to have a complete understanding of the issue before us, I think we need to get educated on what the state says regarding cemeteries and private ownership of cemeteries and how the state indicates those private owners ought to take care of cemeteries, because there would be maybe some overlap there, and there would also maybe be some bright lines that we don't cross.
Well, obviously the cemetery on Boone Drive is one that we're maintaining and we have no ownership in.
That's right.
We've been maintaining it for years.
Right.
But I think, if we were to go down this road and continue these discussions, I think some of the things we would address in Eastview and Oak Hill, are obviously different than we would in Farmer Street. And I'll bring up some examples. The restrictions and the standards we have on the types of headstones, combining lots and burial of urns. We have a lot of standards and protocols in those cemeteries that have been in place for many, many, many years. And we've often had thoughts about reviewing some of those standards. So there would probably be different roles of a commission. I think Rhodes is coming in there, as it would relate to Oak Hill and Eastview, more so because of the continuing burials and perpetual maintenance that we have in there. Because we got, those are deeds.
Right.
Right.
Those are so deed of record. So it's probably worth a conversation, but
I think there's an education piece
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
there before we need to.
Yeah.
The other big issue, though, gentlemen, is that it's not an active cemetery. Some of those rules that apply to the others don't apply to because it's not an active cemetery. It is purely a
And
historic cemetery.
that's the point I'm making, that
Right.
Farmer Street Cemetery needs to stand on its own, and we need an education on the whole process of cemetery and state involvement and their rules and regulations. And I think it's a worthy discussion, but I think to do it haphazardly today, just by an addition to this, would not be the way to proceed.
And I don't want to do it haphazard. I want to bring Farmer Street, make it the quality, because it is. It's city residents that are in there. And we need to give it the quality and the care that it's worthy of calling it the City of Newnan Cemetery. But I want to make sure that, all of our cemeteries are, let's bring Farmer Street up to quality. And then let's make sure we keep all of them up to quality. And I totally agree with the mayor in, these other cemeteries. What are the state regulations, and making sure that they're cared for as they ought to be cared for, because they are in the city, even though they're not city owned, and so that they look and they are appropriate to the City of Newnan.
I think it's a good suggestion, and maybe two separate issues, so.
So I do have a motion and a second to adopt on the second and final reading the ordinance to reestablish the Farmer Street Cemetery Commission. Let me call the question on that. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. And now, the next item on this, although it's not on the agenda, do any of the council members have their appointment ready?
I do.
Okay.
I'd like to appoint Lauren Taylor,
Second.
Loren Taylor.
Warren Taylor?
is it Lauren or Warren Taylor?
Lauren, Loren.
Okay.
Okay. This is the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. So anyone else have their appointment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jocelyn Washington Palmer.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Anyone else? All right, if you'll put the rest of those nominations on the next agenda, please. All right, the agenda's already gone out, so I'll just say to the council, if you have an appointment, the next opportunity is this coming Tuesday. Okay, so that ends the agenda that we put forward for the special call meeting. We do have a need, though, for executive session for real estate. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, sir. I move that we now enter into closed session as allowed by OCGA 50-14-4 and pursuant to advice by the city attorney for the purpose of discussing real estate, and that we in open session adopt a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor or presiding officer to execute an affidavit in compliance with OCGA 50-14-4, and that this body ratify the actions of the council taken in closed session and confirm that the subject matters of the closed session were within exceptions permitted by the open meetings law.
Second.
Motion is second. We go into executive session for real estate. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. We're in executive session.